If you've been on any social media app like ever in your lifetime, you have probably found yourself doom scrolling at least once. And if your For You page is anything similar to mine, you have probably found an abundance of art tips during your scrolling sessions. Art tips that make you go, I will definitely use these later, only for that video to be forgotten about and collect dust with the other thousands of videos in your saved folder. In an attempt to stop my digital hoarding, today I will be looking through old saved folders and my For You page to find art tips and use them all in one drawing to see what my art would look like if I actually, remembered to use them. I don't want to be talking for too long, so let's just jump into the video.
Here are some tips to make sure your sketches and line art look just as good as Cooline's. Let's go.
For me, at least, starting your sketch off with a really thin brush is really hard to get my ideas down fast. Instead, try switching to an airbrush. Starting off with a bigger brush like this makes you a lot less scared of making mistakes. Now, when your airbrush sketch is all finished, take your line art tool and then just go over and add all the details.
I am so very sorry for cutting you off, Justin. Justin? Can I call you that? Is it informal? Let's call you Mr. Justin Arts. I really wanted to try this art tip because typically I do the opposite. I usually start with very loose and very thin sketches and then thicken them up later on. So I wanted to try this reverse, and I can say very, very intriguing. I see what he means. It definitely felt less stressful, like I didn't have to think about every line and every placement. It made sketching very easy and very stress-free and very quick. 10 out of 10 would use this art tip again.
How I draw my faces. First, draw the shape until you want and add a little triangle on the eyelashes and make it dark except the triangle area. Make the pupil blurry, no detail. At the bottom lashes, then draw the skin fold on top of the eye and eyebrows. Add an edge cell. For the nose, draw to water drop shapes kinda and then add some blush. Draw the corners of the mouth first, and then connect. At the bottom lip, add blush my faux part. I like to draw the hair first and then the face shape haircut is posted. Draw the face shape according to the features. Add neck and ears and are done. Hope this helped.
Alright, already kind of messed up because I was supposed to draw the face shape and the hair after I draw the facial features. Did I do that? No, I did not. I got used to how I draw. Whoopsie! And I really, 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 really like this idea. One thing that I tend to struggle with is how facial features sit on the face. So being able to draw the facial features first and then just altering them a bit to fit the face, actually, it was a lot easier. The only thing about this is that I wonder how this hack would work on more extreme perspectives. Like, would it still work? Would it still look as good? I don't know. But speaking of looking good, I really love the way that they draw eyes. Absolutely lovely. Like, especially the inside of the... Oh, Gorgina!
You guys have asked me a lot for line art tips, so that's what this video is going to be for. Keep in mind I do have a Discord server where I stream very frequently, most of the time doing line art. Here's some examples on screen of my line art work. And here, the shell brush is the only line art brush that I use. In order to get that deep line effect, you have to know where to put thick and thin lines. Most of the time I put them where two lines meet to create a corner. I'll throw some examples here on screen so you can get a good idea of what I mean. Always remember to have your opacity lower if you're going for a textured or kind of like sketchy effect. Something else that I really like doing is blurring the line art. This can be done by duplicating the line art layer and using Gaussian blur on the second layer. Once you've done that, it creates a really cool smoky effect, but it's important to remember that it does not work for every kind of line art style. This is why I don't use it often. Keep in mind though that this brush may not be the one for you. It's important that you experiment with different brushes because they all look and feel differently. Once you learn to have a steady hand, you can make some cool stuff.
As someone who doesn't have a very steady hand, I was nervous for this one. I have always absolutely adored art styles with thick and thin line art all into one. Like when they, Oh, I can't even talk about it or I'll get too excited and vomit. But it's so tasty. And I've always wanted to incorporate that into my art style, but I just don't understand it. Like, it never looks really good. So when they said you should be using the line art as like a shadow, like the thicker the shadow would be there, the thicker the line art. And if like things interact, the line art should be thick there too. Oh my god, they opened my eyes. I myself don't use Procreate. I use IbisPaint, so I didn't use the same exact brush as they did, but I used this one. It's called the Dip Bleed Pen. I really liked it. I thought it gave a very nice texture. I don't know if you would feel the same way. I don't know. It's all preference. One thing that I really like about this hack is that it makes my art style look a bit darker and a bit more, I guess you could say, grunge, which is something that I've been really trying to bring into my art style, because recently I've been developing this magical girl story called Vienna, or at least right now it's called Vienna, and it is about these magical girls in a town where there is a vampire-like infection turning people, you know, to vampires. So the magical girls are tasked with not only hiding the vampires from the town, but capturing and purifying the vampires so they can turn back to human, and thus stopping the infection from spreading. But in this story, there is a vigilante team who believes that the magical girls are dumb and that they are wasting time on these vampires. And they believe that vampires don't need to be purified, they need to be killed, and that is the only way to get rid of the infection. And this character I am drawing here, her name is Juno, and she's actually the leader of the vigilante group. She absolutely hates both vampires and magical girls. She hates that the magical girls are hiding the vampires from the public, and she hates that the vampires are allowed to kill people and do whatever, and it's just hush hush, it's fine. They can go back to normal life after they're purified. She thinks that's unfair. She believes that people who hurt people deserve to have consequences, and if that consequences is her hurting them, then so be it. I don't want to talk about this story too much in this video, so if you guys want a separate video about Vienna, please let me know down below. First things first, this drawing is absolutely gorgeous. I love the use of colors. Just mwah, chef's kiss. So when I saw this, even though they didn't give like an in-depth tutorial as to what they do, I wanted to copy what they did so bad that I sat there and I studied it and I tried to replicate it to my best ability. I think one of my favorite things that they did in this drawing is that whenever they had a shadow, they had like a cooler accent color inside of the shadow. Like, I think they used a blue or maybe it was a purple. I don't know. But I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Like, I don't know what about it just looks so like pleasing to my eyes, but I really liked it. I also think that it was like super calming to do it because it felt like a coloring page. It was really nice. It felt like it almost felt like doing makeup, if I'm being quite honest. I thought it was beautiful. It was great.
Do you ever finish drawing a character on a white background and think to yourself, damn, that's kinda boring. I wish I could spice this up somehow. Well, I got just the trick for you. Here's my own example using Barbara from Genshin Impact. Once I was done drawing the portrait, I didn't really feel like adding a background, but at the same time, I wanted the image to look a little bit better. So what I did was get a big airbrush, use the color white, and just so slightly erase the parts where I want the light to shine through. Once that is done, I also added some sparkles. And now to really make this image pop, I added a new layer and filled it in with this color. I set it to 50% of opacity and set it to multiply. And boom, there you have it, a completely different image from before. I hope that helps.
This was such a simple art tip that I think like completely changed the way the drawing looked. I didn't end up using the tan color that the original poster gave us. I did use like a purple pink color because I'm just a little sucker for purple and pink, can you tell? But I thought it looked so beautiful, and it brought it up a notch, you know? This is 10 out of 10, such a simple and effective way to make a good background. Now, would you look at that? The drawing is complete. And for the record, I can confidently say that these art tips definitely helped improve my art a lot. And it's very clear when you compare it to my previous artworks that I've posted on this channel. So maybe I should use these art tips more often. With that, if you have any questions, concerns, or recommendations as to what I should post next, please don't be afraid to leave them down below. Don't forget to stay hydrated or to eat a snack. I hope you are having a wonderful day. As always, this is Naomi Pistachiomi, logging out.